To iron out any misconceptions that people may have, I have taken over every government on this planet. I have taken over every department, every ministry. This includes all of the armed forces, including Metropolitan Police, including City of London Police, Washington, D.C., and the various resources that they have. In addition to that, I have also taken over the Bank of International Settlements Affairs, how they conduct fairs and how they deal with these things. The statements that I'm making may sound magnitudinal, but they are not in reality. And the reason why that is because when you have something, shall we say, in wanting of a better word, something that has more superiority, everything else gives way to it. In other words, if you are the strongest man in the village or the strongest man in town or on the planet, you acquire the position of Titan, albeit in this case Atlas, who would happily take on the weight of the entire earth on his shoulders, because that's his duty, to keep balance. Because his body is balanced, his mind is balanced, he's able to take on a load and hold it as long as he can until he passes it on to somebody else. So what does this mean in terms of banking? Well, if it's a question of banking, all banks work on the same principles of banking, which is banking rules and procedures. That's global. That's not very hard to understand. Anybody that understands maritime law, or the simplicity of it, will know how to conduct banking. The word banking, as you know, comes from the riverbank. It's maritime expression. So any bank or banker can work and run any bank anywhere in the world. And we all know about what settlement is. Settlement is the ability to settle your affairs with other people and vice versa. Hence the word Bank of International Settlements. So, I've given you the explanation as to what the banking element is. What about the judicial? What does the judicial mean? It means the ability to make sound judgment. Do you understand? When you're walking down the road, you're constantly making sound judgments. Otherwise, you'll be colliding into people and other people. A driving license is a very good example of your qualification to show sound judgment. Without that, you'll be colliding into people and you'll be a hazard and dangerous, and you'll be taken off the road. Of course you would be, reckless driving, incapable of doing things, not within your frame of mind, as it were. There's a wonderful Latin word for it, something I've forgotten. My students know. So that's what it means to become the head of the entire judiciary system in every country in the world. You understand that? It's because I'm able to do good judgment, sound judgment, make sound judgments for the world, deliver services and ideas and constitutions and judicial notices on a scale never seen before. At least, reported history, which turns out to be only about 180 years old. So, can you imagine what existed outside of that? So that's how I became the head judge on a global scale. Every judge on this planet surrendered to me because I showed good judgment. You understand that? So if you show good judgment, you will become naturally the best judge in your team on a global scale. There's nothing mysterious about it. What I'm doing is demystifying those things that the corporations mystified for you. I'm demystifying it. Hence the word DE means no mystification. So every courtroom on this planet essentially surrendered to me. This includes the lowest courts, the county courts, and the superficial courts, which is the high courts. And every prime minister on this planet and every minister on this planet surrendered to me. Yeah. Not surrendered because I put a gun to their head. They just recognized a superior way of doing things, and that's what I delivered. So that's on a governmental, and that's on a judicial scale. What is the legislative? The legislative is the ability to bring forth things that allow commerce as well as good conduct to take place. The corporations hijacked that legislative system and screwed up and fucked up everything so badly that it became so profitable only for them. As a result, I became the #1 legislator for this planet. Do you understand that? Legislator means a leg to stand on. It really is quite simple. So once again, that's the power of demystification. I'm taking away the mysteries of all of this. So what is left? We have religion, albeit faith. And you've got to understand the Holy Trinity in a sense of hope, faith, and charity. I have shown charity, and I've shown hope, and I've shown faith. That immediately creates a trust law. And once that trust law is put on paper, it's protected by the four-corner rule, which is symbolized with the 4 lions. And hence, this constitution, and not a new constitution, because it's never existed. There's never been a global constitution, so don't call it a bloody new constitution, because it's not. Okay? So when that was formed, what happened is all those countries that don't have a constitution just simply surrendered to a superior one, or in replacement of, because they really needed it. Okay, so that's how trust law works, and that's how contract law works. That's nothing mysterious about that. So, what is left? The faith element of it. When I took over the House of David, okay, which is the Star of David, it's not in Israel, by the way, it's global, okay? And I took on, beg your pardon, the wisdom of Solomon, what is known as the House of Solomon. The House of Solomon means the ability to show wisdom. If you show wisdom, the genie will instantly awaken because it recognizes wisdom. So that's what the House of Solomon means. It means the house of the one that has wisdom, that now becomes the controller of the genie. The genie is the controller of the genetic code called epigenetics. So I give you guys the wisdom, I give you guys the paperwork, and I give you the means to do your service processing. And hence, I control that wisdom. It really is quite simple. I think, the Bible, in that sense, me being very familiar with the Bible, puts it beautifully. The cup overfloweth. Which is another word for charity. Okay? So when everybody else gives up faith, I still go on. That's just, Kipling's work. When everybody else is losing their head, he doesn't. I don't. And that hope element is that, all this is just for our benefit, the earth and things like that. Look, there's something you need to understand before I babble on too much. The earth is not yours, the planet is not yours, you're guests here. Okay, the planet, if you disappeared overnight, and I mean you, and the other 7 billion that is supposed to be out there disappeared, the earth will begin to heal, which means you're a fucking parasite on this planet. You make sure you do your best to make sure that the earth remains clean, so it's able to perform what it does, and it will do the job of the matrix, which is the womb. You're living in the womb. And I'm speaking to you in all of my official capacities. That is that. Now, I've covered faith, and I've covered hope, and I've covered charity, which are the foundations of what is known as a church. Yes, I'm aware, I've educated in what church means, but the concept of coming together in union, okay, union means in one contract, which means all of yous all agree upon something, which is what I demonstrated on the Global Constitution. In doing so, I gave hope, and I gave faith, and I gave charity to the entire planet. David Wayne Miller did that, and two pernicious individuals called Russell J. Gould, that I know of, and another character who was his clerk of the court called Leighton Ward, destroyed him. The consequences of allowing freaks into your life is that they will take your life. And Leighton Ward, okay, who pretended to be the innocent victim, and Russell J. Gould, who pretended he created all of David Wayne Miller's technology, the hunt for them is now on. I will be personally seeking death sentences for Leighton Ward and Russell J. Gould. They can't hide in the private. They'll be dragged out of their so-called homes, and, if need be, sentence of a person to death will take place. I told you that I'm not playing games. The consequences of doing that to David Wayne Miller, you don't have my forgiveness on this. Okay, and the harm that you did to his family, and I mean historically as well, the people that came before the Goulds and that carries a death sentence, and I will be seeing that through. If need be, I will hang you myself personally, because I take responsibility for everything. So if you think people like Russell J. Gould and so on and so forth, I don't have the ability to seek you out and find you and hang you by the neck, you would be wrong. The organizations that you belong to will give you up to me because they have no standing. Anyway, those are the consequences of, people doing what they did to people that I've loved and benefited and on a global level as well. That's the judiciary side of it. That's the consequential side of it. With what they call counseling men and women, as well as the men and women that are in positions of office, they're just simply waiting on me to give them the instructions, which I'll be doing sometime next week or later this week, okay, if I've got time. So I've covered as many, the governing bodies, as it were, which is the churches, what faith means, and etc., what the judicial and legislative is, okay, and the executive. The executive, of course, is the ability to, what they call conventionally, to execute. All right, that's the ability to see something through from point 1 to point 2 or point 3 to the end. So it comes to a conclusion. You start something, you conclude it. Hence that wonderful saying that I love, in for a penny, in for a pound. If you're going to put a penny into this, see it through to the pound. Otherwise, I don't want you. Okay? Now, I do need to speak about the policing agencies on the planet. They've also surrendered to me and have taken the instructions. This includes the FBI, the CIA. The CIA is just the military police that governs military. That's all. They don't have a jurisdiction outside of that military base, which is perfectly fine, because treasonous conduct or conducts against men and women are punishable by death. Of course they would be. The FBI, which is the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which keeps the integrity of the federal government integral to people, have also surrendered to me. Surrendered, not in a sense I'm putting a gun to them, is that I've given them instructions. Okay, this includes the Supreme Court and the governors and etc. Governors, especially in America. All right. Now, just to give you an idea of how honorable these people are, they just need somebody honorable to step up and tell them what to do. That's all. Okay. And in this day and age, it seems to be a difficult thing to do. All my people will be tested for narcissism, psychopathy, and stuff like that. And yes, you'll find a lot of false prophets now will come forward, get a little bit brave. It's up to you to slap them down. And I'll be giving the police forces all around the world, including the Bureau of the Bureau of Interpol. I'll be giving instructions to Interpol to be able to do that as well, because what narcissists and psychopaths like to do is they like to hijack things. So when they see an opportunity, they try to hijack, because they are parasitical. You know, if they see dog feces, they'll try to settle on it to suck the salt out. Hence the word flies around shit, because that's what narcissists and psychopaths are. And you see that I've got a web page of it, and that's only a small representation. You know, I keep going back to this position of what narcs and subspecies are, because it's so important that you understand it. You see, I had a little brother. I mean, he everybody loved him because he was angelic. He always had a smile on his face. He got himself involved a long time ago with a woman who turned out to be an alcoholic and a narcissist. Nearly destroyed him. They live in Popular. I forgot, her name is Tracy, I believe. These people think that they can get away with it. They can't. Unfortunately, once he got involved with another woman who was also a narcissist, and I've forgotten her bloody name, lives somewhere in Rumford, Rumford, London, as it were, London, Essex. And they had a baby together. This particular one is highly toxic. It comes up as a highly toxic narcissist. I've forgotten its name. But the point is, these people can never be allowed to remain settled, to think that they've got away with it. He lost his life because of them. And there was another one, a sister-in-law to one of my other brothers. And her name was, I think, Paula Blackhouse or something. Black House, yeah, Blackened. She actually worked to destroy him. And she succeeded because he died. Yeah. Let me see if I can get a picture for you, because guys, you need to understand how pernicious people work, and you have to put them to a stop. So hence I keep saying, when you spot them, go after them. Don't be frightened. Go after them. I had to put my entire life to hold. I'm a one man that sponsors and finances this entire system. And thank God the Patreons came along. Yeah, which pays like a few % of the true cost of this. Let me get a picture of him to make it personal. Yeah, so it's not like a faceless name. All right, let me just give me a few seconds. Yeah, that's all my tooly stuff there, but that's my little brother. Okay, you see it? Everybody loved him. Girls loved him because he was so cute, and he never had a bad thing to say about anybody. He was flawless in that. The guy that trained me, George Christian Azariah, he said his name was Solomon, by the way. For my advanced students will instantly get that. You know, when you have somebody that plans to injure something that innocent, you're dealing with a highly toxic individual, like that thing called Paula Blackhall. She's going to go to prison for that. Yeah, and all those other people that caused this destruction, his loss of life, they go to prison for it. Just like the bankers, just like the solicitors, whose doors are going to be kicked in very soon, presumably next week or just after Easter. Okay, by me. Okay, which will set the course for all my other sheriffs and etc. to do what they need to do. Look, this is David Wayne Miller. I would like to say he's a prophet or a god or whatever, but these are stupid words to explain what that is. And I'm not even a hero worshipper. Yeah, he was a beautiful man. You know, when I went to see him in Milwaukee, he had a homeless person, sorry, I beg your pardon, a homeless woman living with him, who he was looking after because, and it was nothing sexual or anything. She had a lot of medical conditions and he was looking after her. He was charitable to the end. We have the capacity to forgive. But if they take their toxicity to other people and destroy them, they forfeit their life. That's what wisdom does. It stops people from contaminating others. All right? The reasons why that every church, every faith, every religion, that every judicial, every executive, and every legislative surrendered, gave up, is because of the conduct of what I do. Okay? And the reason why the sheriffs have been working for the corporations for so long, and why they had to surrender to me as well, is because their conduct is so god-awful, and god-awful things carries a paper trail with it, which means they have incriminated themselves. And their boundaries of existence are so narrow, they had to convert everybody's thinking in thinking that they are all-powerful. You see, when a sheriff works for a corporation, he's known as a security guard, sometimes working in his private capacity. You know, my own sheriffs, my own duty officers, as it were, will be putting handcuffs on these sheriffs. You understand? And where I'm going to be using agencies, they'll be doing that. Their entire system is being shut down as we speak. All right? Now, let me say a little bit about the mortgages. Anybody throughout this entire planet that wants to remove their mortgage, all you have to do is come to me. You pay your own way. Don't think of me as a charity all the time. My charity works are in the public. You pay your own way. You abuse my system or myself, I'll turn on you. That reason is that I can easily become your worst nightmare, which is what I'm going to become to those people that hurt my little brother, hurt this planet, hurt David Wayne Miller. In other words, right down to the individual, to the global scale, I have now become their worst nightmare. To the people that want to conduct themselves and to remain safe and happy, I'm a blessing, I'm a wish. Just as you people that are in that frame of mind are a blessing and a wish to me. Thank you.